I'm Rachel Bernard. I'm a professor of geology at Amherst College, and today I'm doing an Amherst STEM Network Autocomplete Interview. Okay, so first question. What is Professor Bernard's favorite book? I would like to say something very intellectual and sophisticated, but I read a ton of romance novels. And actually my favorite romance novel is this one series called Laws of Physics, Book 1 by Penny Reed. I don't know if it's my favorite book of all time, but it's the one I have the most fun reading because it's about a physics prodigy who falls in love with a rock star. So I'm going to say that that's my favorite book. What would Professor Bernard be doing if she wasn't doing geology? Well, as I said, romance novels, number one. I also really like playing Ultimate Frisbee, but I actually haven't gotten a chance to do that since moving to Amherst, so hopefully I can join a team again. And I just really spend time with my husband, who's a professor in the economics department, and my daughter, Harriet, who just turned 2 last week. What was Professor Bernard's major in college? So my major was civil and environmental engineering. I went to Princeton University, and what was really nice about Princeton was they had a sub-major in civil and environmental engineering called geological engineering, and that's really where I fell in love with geology. How did Professor Bernard meet her partner? As I said, I'm married to an econ professor here, Dr. Neil White, and we actually met freshman year of college. We lived in the same hall, we were in the same advisee group, and we both like to joke that we did not like each other when we first met. And it wasn't a hatred, it was more of a non-interest in the other person, but eventually we became friends. We bonded over our love of Seinfeld, and now we're married. What does Professor Bernard research? So, I am what is known as a structural geologist, and what that means is I study how rocks break, particularly in response to tectonic stresses. So the stresses and forces that happen when tectonic plates move around. And the part of the Earth that I'm most interested in is actually the mantle. So if you remember the parts of the Earth from maybe grade school or hopefully intro geology, we have the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. And about halfway through, as we go deeper and deeper, about halfway through the crust, instead of rocks just breaking brittly, something that would make a fault or produce an earthquake, rocks get all squishy because the temperature and pressure is really high. We get squishy ductile rocks, and I study how those rocks, in particular the rocks in the mantle, how they break, how they smush. Ooh. What are metamorphic rocks? So, there's 3 types of rocks, 3 main types. There's sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic. I'll just answer all of them. So sedimentary rocks are made when you have deposition of particles, like a good example would be sandstone or pebbles, that usually get deposited in water and they accumulate over time and form rock, usually after burial. Igneous rocks are rocks that cool from melt. So you can melt a rock and then you have something called melt or magma. And then when that cools and solidifies, it makes an igneous rock. And a metamorphic rock is when you take any kind of rock and subject it to high pressures and temperatures, and it'll experience some physical and chemical changes. And that's a metamorphic rock. So if geology or anything that I've talked about sounds interesting, I really encourage you, number one, to take a class in the Geology Department So fun, looking at rocks, minerals, learning about how the world works, how the earth works. And yeah, also anyone is welcome to come to a group that I participate with. It's completely student run, but I'm sort of affiliated. It's called WALK, Geoscientists Underrepresented at Amherst College. And it's a really awesome group of students that identify as underrepresented, particularly in the sciences. And it's a pretty casual group, just talk about our experiences in STEM and in the geosciences, which is a really not very diverse field. And in WAP, we talk about ways that maybe we could make it better. So, should look us up and come by. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks.